When Fujifilm announced the Fuji X-E4, I immediately went and pre-ordered it. I loved the flip up screen as maybe like a hybrid option to do some street photography, but also to vlog for YouTube so I can go out with one camera. Second, I loved its look. Like its look is a beautiful X100 series style. It kind of looks like a Leica. I love the minimalistic view of it. So it was like a no-brainer. I put it in the cart, pre-ordered it. But after thinking about it for a while and actually shooting my other Fujifilm cameras a little bit more, I realized I needed to cancel my pre-order. Let's go back a little bit in time when the X-T2 and the X-T20 were both on the market. The X-T2 is weather sealed, it has 2 card slots, and it has a joystick. It has a better EVF. The X-T2 has a vertical tilt screen. It also has an ISO dial and just an overall great design. But if you bought the X-T20, which was the smaller brother of the X-T, or sister, but if you bought the X-T20, you didn't feel like you were missing out too much. It had the same sensor. It even had a touch screen, which the X-T2 didn't have. It has a drive dial. Some of the things you were missing out were it had like a 2.5 headphone jack, which was a little annoying if you did video. It didn't have a joystick for changing your focus mode, although it had the touchscreen. But overall, in this smaller camera, Fujifilm gave you a lot. It gave you a Q menu that was accessible. It gave you a D-pad. It gave you a rear thumb dial and a little focus mode dude there. And I feel with the X-T30 and the X-E3, they started to remove the D-pad and rely more on touch features. And now what I realize is with the X-E4, they've gone a little too minimalistic. I feel like their smaller camera line is becoming too consumerish as opposed to prosumerish. And I still prefer having more buttons and dials. And I think I was blinded by the beautiful looks of the X-E4. And I realized that there were a couple of things they removed that were deal breakers. The biggest deal breaker that Fujifilm removed was a, focus mode switch. This is something that's super convenient to go from single focus to manual focus to continuous focus. And one of the beauties of Fujifilm cameras is you don't need to look at things after a while. You don't need to dive into menus to change your modes. So if you're shooting and you want to go to single focus, you already know where the little switch is and you know what direction it's in. And so that makes shooting enjoyable. On the X-E4, Fujifilm removed this dial, so now you have to go into the menu if you want to switch from single focus to continuous focus. And I'm sure there's workarounds you can set. There aren't too many buttons to customize on that camera. But the point is the shooting experience has changed. You now have to stop and look to change your setting. Now, it was a little upsetting that Fujifilm didn't decide to put the X100's flush, focus dial switch on the side. That would have made more sense. We're making the camera very minimalistic, so we moved this little switch to the side, but they didn't. The second deal breaker for me was the rear dial. The more I thought of it, the more I realized I use the rear dial all the time. With the rear dial, you can actually push the dial and it will punch into your image. And then what's great is you can flip the dial to the right and it will go even more. And the other thing is the rear dial works great as an aperture. It works as an aperture changer. Does that even make sense? You can also set it to change your shutter. So with the front and rear dial, which this little junky X-T20 still has, you can customize the camera to either use the dials or use the front and rear dials. So by removing that rear dial, I feel like they just removed a lot of the functionality of the camera. That was number 2 for me. And the third deal breaker, again, goes back to functionality. I like a camera that kind of becomes an extension of your hand. So like switching modes and switching things you don't really need to look at. They just happen. And Fujifilm changed their auto mode to be part of a dial. So now you have to look for this little P to change to auto mode. Now, why would you need auto mode if you're a very skilled photographer? For this reason, shooting photos in maybe Acros, and I want to shoot some video. So all my settings are set for photography, and then without looking, I can go from a single shot I know that video without looking is the dial all the way turned, and then I turn the auto switch on, and without looking, I can hit record, and the camera will record. There it is, it's recording me, hello. Let's actually do some video here. So this is with the auto switch. By the way, this doesn't have any image stabilization. By switching to this quick auto mode without looking, I can grab some quick video or talk into camera and then stop it. And so I was a little sad to see the auto switch go. And again, I know why they did it. Fujifilm explained that the auto switch was maybe confusing some beginner people. And I think that's where the problem lies. Fujifilm, of course, is in the business of selling cameras, and the people that buy cameras aren't photographers. That doesn't make any sense. The most people that will buy cameras are your everyday vacationers and families, and not really annoying photographers. So I understand why they're making cameras simpler to use. However, it's always great to have the option to make your camera very simple to use, but have those options as you advance as a photographer. I feel like Fujifilm maybe realizes that they made some of their older cameras with a lot of features, and now they're making different types of, they're doing a Canon. You can't really decide which one you want because they don't all have everything you need. All right, so overall, I think that the XS10 is maybe a better all-around hybrid camera because it has the video IBIS, the flip screen, and you can shoot great photos with it. I don't know, for me, removing all the dials and buttons and switches, I know the camera looks beautiful, but I want a camera that has functionality as well as good looks. Ooh, yeah. All right, I'll see you guys next time.